Captain Will Hofstetter was an Army pilot during World War II. As flight leader, he took command of his own fighter squadron and successfully completed over 100 missions during the war. In a letter he wrote home on October 3, 1944, he tells of his life overseas as he stays in weekly contact with his family back home.
Dear folks, do not use too much conjecture on what we are doing now. B-24 type aircraft were made primarily for strategic bombing, so why use them for a job for which the U.S. already has a specific kind of plane? Of course, when they're going to throw everything they have at the Jerry, including old watches and toothbrushes, they might use us, but we do more good elsewhere. It's hard sometimes to draw the line as to when our bombing is in direct support of ground troops and when it isn't. But one might almost say at this stage of the game that any bombing we do is in direct support of ground troops. Incidentally, you had better cancel that date in New York for the 31st of October, for that is surely out now. In fact, as I see it, the end of the war is definitely not in sight yet. They sure had me fooled when around the 1st of September, for at the time I would have sworn that the war would be over by the 1st of November at the latest. I can't figure it out. I have resigned myself to being pleasantly awakened some morning with the news that the war is suddenly over. Any guy who sets a definite date for the end of it, with the possible exception of Roosevelt, Churchill, Stalin, Hitler, and God, is just sticking his neck out. I don't even think 4 out of those 5 know. Well, enough of this. I've got to sound off once in a while. About a month ago, one of the paddle feet colonels got a wild idea about having an ETO football team and asked all able-bodied men over 10 and under 60 to look into the matter. They gave out real suits and stuff. Boy, was I flashy. The bloomers came down to my knees, and when I put on my steel helmet, I felt like the original Spirit of '76. I went to practice just once, and then 6 copies came through the channels reminding me, the colonels, that combat men are ineligible to play such rough games and must stick to bad men. That wiped out about 75% of his team, so in disgust, or for spite, or for something, he gave up the whole idea. He now spends his time mopping up drinks at the bar, just as he did before he got the brainstorm. Thanks a lot, Dad, for taking care of my monthly allotments the way you do. Each month there should be one $75 war bond and one $75 check. Well, I'd better get going now before I really run out of space. Best love, Will.
Captain Hofstetter and his squadron redeployed home on June 2, 1945. He lives happily with his wife and 2 sons in Windham, Maine.